Go time. So with chair, think hip flexor. I'm going to leave my chair like this and just kind of work around it from one side to the other, right? So you get yourself as close to the chair as you want to be so that you don't feel like you have to work for your balance, because this high foot can move forward so that you can push in. I'm going to scooch back a little bit though. All right, you're just in that forward push. And so I don't want to say I almost said the innocent, right? But that's the wrong term. Every position has some specific requirements. And if you don't check in with where are your parts, then the body will often be slightly off. And so as you continue your little rock here, look down at the foot on the floor. And I want you to see if that foot is slightly turned, right? And more often than not, it'll be with the toes rotated out. That is a good position for the leg for some of our stuff, but for right now, I want you to direct that heel, square it up. Maybe you're actually able to even slide the foot back a little bit so that when you bear down with the heel into the floor, you feel your calf get a stretch, okay? So how do we get the hip flexor, the top part of that upper joint, right, to be incorporated in the stretch? By you going into your pelvic tilt, into a forward press. I've got my hand on the chair because it's actually helping me drive my body away from that front knee, zipping and tucking, and the stretch should be, without a doubt, you know exactly where you're going with this. Calf and hip flexor. Now, how do we turn it into our little flow? Hamstring, calf and hip flexor. Hamstring. So since the hamstring seems like the nice, easy part of the stretch, well, all you have to do is just roll into it. That's one way to tackle it. But the better way is to maintain your S, take this part of your bun, shove it back, and then you don't have to come as far forward. The integrity of your stretch is nice and clean. So rocking, straight back leg, straight front leg. Inhale, squeeze the bun. Exhale. Neither position should feel like you're in extreme stretch mode. It should just feel like you can identify, okay, got it. And then get the two parts on the back leg. So, can you go a little bit further? That's going to have us really bending the front leg. And we're going to incorporate thoracic spine. So how hard would it be for you to take your maybe support hand, put it, I don't know, 8 inches from the inside of that front leg, and then rotate the high arm. My back heel is still on the floor. So now we've incorporated a full spinal twist, right? Hand to knee, hand to the back of the chair, float yourself, S curve, right? With S curve, you can come down as deep as you want, trying to not let the middle body hollow out where it's the forehead that's making its way to the knee. So get the shoulders out of the ears, lengthen the spine, start bending your front leg, bend it, place the hand on the chair, rotate the body, go nice and slow so you don't lose your balance. If your shoulder on this high arm is not doing its depression, then you're going to find it really hard to rotate and turn your head, right? Hand to knee, hand to chair. Pull yourself into the beginning phase of calf and hip flexor. Rock yourself into front leg hamstring. Bend the front leg, support into thoracic spine rotation. You're going to do one more round of this, right? Hand to knee, hand to chair, pull it back, reset yourself into trailing leg calf and hip flexor stretch just by you pelvic tilting should allow you to incorporate both stretches. Float it on your forward position here. If you want more stretch, rock the toes up, but keep the ribs sliding down because that's what's going to pull the shoulders out of the ears. Third component, final stretch. Brace in, support, rotate. There's so much more we could do here. It's a great place to stop though. Relax the arm, help yourself up. You can, I'm going to walk around to the other side of my chair. I like to have opposite hand to the elevated foot. I like this feels like it's a really good, keeps my body in a square line, right? I didn't have to change, but sometimes if you have the same hand to the high leg, the body kind of gets a little bit opened. And for me, it just is helpful to help keep that square line. So before you get yourself all carried away, look down at the bottom foot. As you're looking at your foot, let's take a little note of what is our ankle bone doing. So as you're looking at your foot, do you see that your ankle is sliding down towards the floor and it looks like your arch is like flattened out and rolled in? That is a controllable position. You just have to know where and how to rotate your knee cap. Okay. If you are finding that your ankle wants to slice down towards the carpet, roll the knee, like twist the leg out, and that will adjust it and it'll give it won't make you feel like you're working your bun, but it'll put you in the right alignment. And that is something that is so easy to correct. And this might be the only time in your entire day, maybe all week, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know how long, right? That you're like, "Oh, why does my ankle do that?" So I want you to pay attention to that and don't let it. All right, here we go. Heel is flat. You're in a little bit of your pelvic tilt. You're in enough of a forward press so that you feel the calf and the hip flexor on the same leg. Keep your spine lengthened without letting your chin tip up. We don't want to crimp the back of the neck. Just relax the head enough. Bend the leg, squeeze the bun. Maybe you're like, what's my foot doing? Look back down. See if in that one repetition things already went awry. Bun tight, navel in. You're in your forward press just enough to feel that nice, gentle stretch across the front of the hip. Rock back. As your body comes forward, the head wants to do this with the chin. If you had a neck brace on, as if you had injured your neck, that would restrict you from being able to collapse back there. So just imagine that you've got a collar on, and so you're kind of looking forward. Do it again. Press into it. Maybe look down. What's your foot doing? Pull the ankle away from the floor. Zip and tuck your parts. Shoulders down. Drive it back. And we're going to add in the thoracic spine. Okay, so now once you feel like you're getting a nice little pull here, start bending in, slide that hand to the chair. How comfortable do you feel? Maybe this is your arm that you're protecting, and so you can't really open it up. But could you put your hand on your shoulder and just try to twist? Maybe you can then get your elbow to raise, but at any sign of resistance by pain presenting itself, then you need to avoid that. All right. In the event you feel like you just are all bound up and your body is fighting itself, then move your foot as wide as the chair will let you go. And when you put your hand down, keep it as far away from your foot as you can, and that will give your body some maneuverability. Okay. Now pull back, set it up, stretch one, pelvic tilt, press the heel down. You're in your forward lean, or I should say your forward press, just to initiate hip flexor. Shoulders are down. Phase two, keep the nice long line without drawing the chin up. Right? Here's where you're like, if your toes are down on that chair, maybe, so these are called your peroneals. Okay. So maybe you're getting a nice stretch that's radiating down across the top of the foot and the ankle and the hamstring. And then if you raise the toes, wow, all back through the calf. Ready? Start the bend. Figure out where's your hand need to be. As soon as you're like, okay, I'm going to rotate, get your shoulders out of your ears. Keep pushing your down heel nice and firm into the floor. Twist your body. Rotate. Press yourself back. This is your last one. Reset. Nice and clean, like you're taking it from the top. Look down at your foot. As you press in, does the ankle do what it's not supposed to do? Twist that knee out. All right. See if you can pinch your derriere. Find your line of tension that lets you identify calf stretch, hip flexor stretch. Shoulder blades are depressed and active, navel to spine. Float it back. Go ahead and rock the toes up. Bring your neck into that neutral position. The tailbone, right? So the high butt cheek, try to press it back. By you being able to articulate your spine into S will lengthen that stretch. You do not have to have a fully extended leg. And as a matter of fact, the tighter your hamstring is, relieve it a little bit by softening the knee and see if that doesn't give you the control that maybe is lacking when the leg is fully extended. Okay. All right, here we go. Toes down, hand on the chair, shoulders out of the ears, fully push down leg and rotate. When you rotate, is your high knee floating way out to the side? Right? Because if it is, try to slide it back into tracking right. Bring the hand to the knee. Help yourself back to squared position. Push up. Woo, walk around. The leg that was just on the chair, that one needs to stay back down on the floor. Okay, so if you're not walking around your chair, all we're doing is alternating legs. Leg number, right? Put it up. Think about this just being a very modified pigeon stretch. So if this is too modified for you and you know what the full pigeon stretch is, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a moment, but this is the beginning. Sometimes those hips are just really tight, that to get your leg up and torque, and again, you don't have to be super far from your chair. You just ease forward until that foot so that you can get your body again. It's all about hip hinge. Everything kicks off from your hip hinge. So now, back leg still is straight. What did your foot do? Look at it. Ow. Even just a smidgen of rotation, the bodies or parts want to just tweak themselves out, right, to help the leg that's supposed to be relieving the stretch. Here we go. So I'm really close to my chair. I'm in my hinge. As I drive the stretch, it's pulling all up in a very different muscle line than what we just did for hamstring. Okay. So you should feel that we're absolutely hitting a different part of the hip line. And I'm got a good brace going with this chair. So now, this is your movement. Float out of it, push back into it. Keep practicing your shoulders out of your ears, retraction, depression, and S curve. And then if you say, I don't need modified, then your pigeon brings you to the floor. And how do we get there? Multitude of ways, but I go into what looks like a push-up position. I pull my leg through, and then I just let my body slide into the stretch. So if you come down here with me, then just stay put. As you're in your braced position, you want to try to roll that high hip bone towards the heel of the front leg, and that kind of helps to keep you square. If you're flexible enough, you can come down with elbows on the floor, but if you come down and your back is all rounded, you've overcommitted, right? I'd rather see you stay here, shoulders out of the ears, the hip bone touching the foot or getting as close as you can to it. Now, we're going to switch sides. So if you're staying on the floor, go into what looks like your push-up position, switch legs, guide the foot up, right, if you need to. And I'm going to come around and get back into modified, right? So if you have your foot, your leg doing the modified on the chair, work yourself around to the other support side. I love the modified movements because frankly, they allow you to unload some of the workforce and you can really just tap in mind to muscle. Where do you feel your little stretch? And sometimes it takes 5, 6 repetitions as you're kind of as you're exploring the space of rocking forward. And then you're like, oh, yeah, okay, lift the chest up a little bit, pull up. Every time you give yourself the next little piece of information and you make an adjustment, your stretch line starts really revealing itself. So you can take somebody who is super flexible, put them in a very modified position, but because they have control over their body, the modified positions do not represent less than stretches. It just allows you to not have a fight going, right? So now as you're in your forward hold, looking at the foot that's on the floor, what's your ankle doing? Sometimes you don't even realize that your weight has collapsed to the inside edge. So this is something where you can just keep your eyes on it, pull the ankle away from the floor without letting your big toe leave the floor. Rock up. Give me one more. Forward push. You've got that collar, the imaginary collar on your neck so that you can't rock back and collapse. As you're in your forward position and you're now looking at your ankle, pull your shoulders out of your ears and then see if you can't take this hip and push it back further. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. Easy does it up. Pull that leg out of it. Relax. Be careful as you walk around, right? Okay, move your chair. Maybe grab a little water. Grab your stick. I forgot to tell you, if you have a stick handy, get it. If you don't have a stick, then maybe you've got your stretch out strap that you could hold some tension to it, okay? I just love the stick. There is my brain has been registering these words called bendy body, the bendy body. And I swear I'm going to Google it because I don't know where this came from, but I thought I must have seen something, right, that relates or relates to flexibility. And I'm just going to have to do a search and see what pulls up when I Google that, the bendy body. Because frankly, why don't we strive to have the bendy body, right? Be able to be as toned, as taut, as in command of our parts as possible, but yet be able to be so limbered. And I don't mean like acrobat, like, gymnastics limbered, but in the course of a realistic flexibility, you should it would be nice to feel like you didn't really have any limitations, right? Hopefully you're getting this full on, right? Got that trailing heel and swivel. As that trailing heel comes around, it might go a little bit beyond neutral. Squeeze the bun. I don't want you to stop short though. And that's what the stick is helping you do. Your arms get to help draw it around. I'm keeping the stick resting against my backside. Now give me 3 more. Belly to spine. Exhale. Squeeze the bun. Bring it around. This is your last time. And release. Relax. All right. Think about your stick as like your little dancing cane. Okay. And we did this I think it was actually last week. But if you will start with your feet close together, and we're going to just take our body side to side. So if you don't have a stick, but you have your stretch out strap, you're holding your strap so that it's taut, and you're not going to let your strap have any softness to it. It's going to stay strong. So press the arms, come up to center, a little tip, press the arms, squeeze your buns, and in an ideal setting, our back body, including our head, would be touching the wall. So all of us would be pressed into the wall, and we'd be able to identify, is our middle back also trying to come to the wall? Because if you're not in pelvic tilt, then you are in too much of a sway back, is what we'll call it. So now you've got your imaginary wall, the backs of your hands are on the wall, the back of the head, the butt's touching, you're in pelvic tilt with straight legs, and you're just tipping, sliding. The wall is giving you support. And what I love about the wall is you'd be able to tell, is your high arm still touching the wall? Pull it back. That's how we open up that stretch. Both hands, pull them back so that they're resting against your imaginary wall. Come up and inhale. Slide the hips, tip the upper body, stand rooted and squeeze your buns and suck the navel in. This is fantastic stretch for that joint connection all through that hip crest. Come up. Now, relax the arms. It wouldn't be as much fun if we didn't throw in a little bit of our balance work, right? So pick your foot, step up to it, get the other foot off the floor. Since you have your stick, do you need your stick? Put your stick on the floor, look down. Is your foot already slightly rotated? Realign it. Is your ankle starting to collapse? Pull it to the outside without getting your big toe off the floor. Square it back up. Lift the stick if you can. Set it down. Lift the stick. Okay. So with the stick up, turn your head towards the high knee side. You can always set the stick back down. And now what I want you to remember, because now I'm just talking to you, you're not looking at the screen because your head's turned to the side, is I want you to imagine that you've got that neck brace on. So when you turn your head, you're not going to let your chin lift up. We don't want to collapse the back of the neck. And this would be where if we were holding our book, today I opted to not use the book. So draw your chin back towards your body, turn the head, right? Even if you want to take your index finger and put it right on the middle of your chin and your thumb on your clavicle as a means of helping you get your cervical spine retraction. And now I'm going to have you try to keep your finger and your finger to chin, thumb to clavicle. Go ahead and put your stick down. Pull your chin back. Zip up. Do your pelvic tilt. Right? You should feel the butt cheek on your stance leg really working. And it should feel different now that you're in pelvic tilt. Can you take this high leg, create torque, flick, 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 flick. Hopefully you're starting to feel like your muscles on your stance leg are working. 5, chin to chest, 4, tick, tuck, 3, 2, and relax, walk it out. Okay, bring yourself back into your space. Just moving your body out of your space and coming back should feel like you're ready to set up and everything's gonna be fired up and ready to go. Okay, I almost went back in with the same foot. It's amazing. Okay, be precise. Spread the toes, lengthen the toes, connect them to the floor. Step in. Pull yourself up, zip and tuck. Since we've already been practicing the pelvic tilt, right? Go ahead and engage it. Can you get the other leg off the floor? Maybe you can get the leg off, but there's no lifting the stick. You decide, do you need your stick down? You might as well go ahead and let's go ahead and use index and third finger to the chin, thumb to the clavicle, pull everything back. Now, pelvic tilt, and you'll feel your hips stack where they're supposed to be, shoulders out of the ears. Okay, so can you lift your stick? You can always set the stick back down, but rotate your head towards that high knee. Keep drawing your index and third finger pressing into the chin to help with your cervical spine retraction. And now really, 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 really pelvic tilt on your stance leg. Squeeze the bun. This is going to feel like you're pulling your head back further than where it should be or where you're used to it being, but with your index and third finger pressing your chin and your thumb on your clavicle, you are actually in probably the better alignment than you've been last you can remember, okay? So now bring your gaze back to the front. You can go ahead and set your stick down. I want you to really pull it back. When you pull it back, don't let your upper body bow back, right? So stand tall, zip up. Actually feel these two parts pull together, okay? Shoulders out of the ears, and you're holding for 5. If you can get your stick back off the floor, do 4, 3. Keep standing rooted on that stance leg and release. Walk it off. You should feel like the entire leg, that whole hip complex, was just dialed in and giving you the best support. And so it worked. It's fatigued. You do not have to put your stick down. I'm going to put my stick down as a visual. You could use a strap, right? You don't even have to have anything on the floor, but just I put it down because we're specifically trying to move beyond the stick, right? Both forward and backwards. And if you're concerned about you accidentally stepping on a round object, then put something flat down so that you don't freak yourself out if you touch it, okay? This is your transition. seem simple. We practice this in a multitude of ways. Sometimes we're stepping on our pillow, right? And as you step back, I think it's worth me noting, since you're seeing it happen, okay, which might be happening to you too, is that you feel significantly less stable on the pushback action than the forward drive. It's predictable, okay? With the more aggressive your pushback is, the more out of balance your body's going to feel, okay? So if you're playing it safe and you're barely clearing your stick and the feet are hardly leaving the floor, that's one version, right? But the greater your movement is, right, it does not have to stay in a slow, clean step. This is actually a drill. So you can decide, right, how much, I call it air, hang time. How much hang time can you get? And can you still, in a wobbly state, recover? 5. But if your feet are barely shifting, right, then it seems like, what's the big deal? It's, if you can get yourself further from your stick, that's where the real challenge is. And cut. Switch legs. You and only you know what you can do. Okay. So I just want you to think about this. If your front heel is coming down and just barely missing your stick, then I want you to propel yourself further forward. Same on the back end, right? If you're doing 4 to 6 inches of forward drive, try to do 4 to 6 inches of rear drive. And you'll find that my feet are not tracking in line, nor should yours be, okay? They're hip width apart. Now, push, push, right? Maybe you're like, I can't spring because when I spring, I throw myself off balance. I did that for effect. That's not, be okay with that. Push. Or be okay with just going, I want to be successful, and so I'm going to just stay in this little easy rock pattern. Now, relax yourself. Turn. So we just did full, actually, I'll just move the stick. You can turn or you can move your stick this way. So we just did front, back, side to side, push, push. Maybe it's, again, not wanting to have any bounce, keeping it basic. If, watch, this is important. As you step, if the second leg doesn't actually get all the way across your step, then you are in a false sense of skill. You need to step far enough so that both feet completely clear your object, because it's as the second leg pulls into the body line where the challenge is going to be, right? Knees are soft. This is your, I'm stepping out of turn here. This is your athletic ready position, right? We're into what looks like a squat. The body stays there, so there's no sense to come up to stiff leg. It stays there because it's reactionary. 5, let the foot close. 4, right? 3, 2, last one, release and relax. That wasn't your last move. That was your last rep for that move. Ready? This is your last move. It's a change of direction. This is what I used to do when we were in Indian Rocks Beach class, right? Start in one direction, rotate, go back to your start position, step and pull, step and pull. The same rule applies, okay? You're in athletic ready, step and close. So your ability to be spring loaded, right? Maybe when you spring load, your toe has to hit the floor, right? So you can go as quickly or as modified as you want to. 5, right? 4, shoulders are back, right? 3, 2, last one. Now, move to the other side. Rotate, go, everybody go slow. Twist, 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 step. Bring leg number 2 along, close it. You should feel like you're doing this, little bit of an arc. And actually, in slow motion, it's not as simple, right? Slow motion is, I feel like, harder because you're spending time opening up, which might be the challenge, and close it. Open, close. All right, pull. So now, if you want to get into your spring, right, this is just a quarter turn rotation. You're not trying to do 180-degree rotation. That's a whole different move. So if you find that you're going one direction and then you're looking all the way the other way, it's too far. You're doing a 90, quarter turn. 5, push. 4, rhythmic. 3, push. 2, last one, release and relax. Move your stick, you're done with that. Ta-da! Water, 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 water. All right, we'll grab our mat. I think it's time. And when you put your mat down, bring your chair back into the equation because we're going to do another figure 4 stretch, piriformis, and we're going to get a little bit of our bridging done using the chair edge. So as you come down, might I suggest you have your little mat, your pillow, your stretch out strap. I'm going to bring my Eric's pad just in case I'm moved to use it. What does your head need? Like, since we're going to start on our back in our figure 4, you might find that initially you need your towel or your pillow to put your neck in the right spot. But as you're coming down, get fairly close to your chair, bench, bed, wall. This stretch here is done from a wall. So anybody who's worked one-on-one with me, there have been times where I've taken you to the wall. We've put our legs up on the wall, right? And then we've drawn our leg down and we slid the foot down the wall. That is the most, I don't want to say the most beneficial application, but it's really, the wall provides a stability in a way that you're not going to get from the chair, but yet the chair will really allow you to take all the fight out of the stretch. Okay, so here we are. You got your foot, the other leg is up and crossed. And how close you are to your chair will determine if your hips are rolled off the floor. If you're really, really tight, then you just inch your body back until you can lay with your tailbone flat and no tension other than just the gentle stretch that you're getting. If it feels anything more than gentle, then you're too close to your chair. Okay. The support leg, there's a reason why I didn't tell you to open up this leg. Like, you could, but if you all tried it, if you just slid the leg away, like, it diminishes the stretch. So that is also another way instead of shifting your body back. Okay. But if everything's going fine, then I want your foot to be a little bit free of the outside edge of the thigh that's supporting it. And then slide the foot that's on the chair, pull it towards you until you feel like your hip is starting to get a little bit of stretch action. You can do whatever you need to do with your arms to get your body relaxed. I'm going to just try to keep tucking my wings down. And we do not have to stay put. So I've already started this little like windshield wiper rotation here. Okay. The foot that's on the chair, I want you to slowly, maybe you're going to have to pick up your head. I want you to try to bring the foot to the other side of the chair and then start the roll again, right? We'll square everything back up in a moment. It's like we're almost trying to get into half lotus, but from a laying back position. So hold it in your rotation. Because of the way my body's set, I've got my ankle touching the chair. I can take the knee, put that towards the chair, and then this high leg, all I have to do is command my knee to move away from my chest and shoulders towards that foot back there. And there's a whole nother degree of stretch happening. Okay. Now, the great thing is that this leg that's up there in a support base on the chair, you don't have to fight and keep your glutes tight. Just let that hip relax, and all you're really focusing on is trying to take this high knee and kind of gently push it away from you. Maybe you're like, there's nothing gentle about it. And if your next thought is, I can't even get my knee to budge, then maybe you take the opposite hand to that knee along the inside and you gently assist the push. And as you assist the push, I want you to feel your spine go into its S curve. Okay, we don't want to be in C curve. So the shoulders are drawing out of the ears. You can push with as much force as feels comfortable to you. Now release the knee. Take the hips, slide that foot back into square line. You're going to have to shimmy the hips back to neutral. Okay. And just pull the leg that's on the chair a little bit closer to you. Now, if that foot is resting right along the curve, the edge of the chair, can you do a little bridge and then pull it back down and bridge? Inhale and exhale, a little bridge with a pull down. What's the resistance? Are you so far away from your chair that you really can't get a bridge? Right? Is the leg really biting at you? Is it the knee? Is it the hip? Is it the ankle? Right? Unfold, take the leg, just support it, and let the leg bob. Ready? Put it on the chair. Bridge yourself up. Bridge, 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 bridge. Make sure your neck is neutral. Bridge, 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 bridge. The great thing about doing bridges from the chair is that, now try not to turn your head, okay? So you're looking straight down your own body line. And hopefully you're feeling like, wow, I'm really getting up off the floor. That's the great thing about using the chair for a bridge. You get up so much higher. And as you pull your belly in and you bring your body back to the floor, don't be surprised if you feel your hamstrings working, okay? So come on down, settle it down. Take leg number 2, crisscross over, pull that support leg back, find the line that feels good for you, and then start doing your little internal and external rotation. You're just going to take this internal rotation as far as your hip line will let you go, right? Release it. Maybe you're able to get the foot all the way on its side edge, the knee touching the chair and the other leg resting on the floor. And release it. And when you release it, you can release it beyond neutral. You can float it the other way. Okay, so get ready. On your next internal rotation, you're going to just let the knee rest, take all the fight out of the upper leg. A few more seconds. I've rotated further on this side than the other side. So as we back out of it, if you find that you're not in as much rotation and this leg that's closest to you needs that extra push, square, like try to situate your hips in a way where you feel like this leg is able to push away from you. And I just realized what was happening with my rotation that was different on leg 1 to leg 2. So if you followed along with precisely what I just said and you found that your body was doing something different on leg number 2, it has everything to do with the fact that we didn't take our foot that's on the chair and slide it towards the opposite edge. So this will shift your stretch. Okay, so here we go. Let your high leg roll, push the knee away from you. And if now I've just thrown a wrench in the plan and you don't know which way you're supposed to be rotating your hips, don't worry about it because either direction is giving you a stretch. But ideally, we want the support leg to be rolling towards the chair and our actual stretching leg, right, moving towards that foot. So everything is like a little bit of zigzag line here. If your leg doesn't comfortably push away from you, then use your opposite hand, give it along the inside edge of that thigh. You can push and release. When you incorporate your arm into the push action, if it draws your shoulders up into your ears, it's your job to be mindful of that, where you don't permit that, and if it does happen, that you then go, oh yeah, train myself, get those bad boys down, right? And now as you come out of it, don't uncross the leg. All you're going to do is take the bottom leg, try to reposition yourself to the best square line that you can, do a little bridge, and bring it back down. Little bridge, that might be too much work for that hamstring, okay? Bring it down, set both legs on the chair, right? Start peeling the navel to spine and the tailbone away from the floor. As your hips come up, if you have too much pillow, you're going to find that it's really uncomfortable. So your chin is drawing to your chest, and the higher you get your hips, the more natural that chin to chest line should feel. And you just get your hips up as high as you can, belly to spine, buns tight. Take your hands, put them along the backs of the hip line, and just give yourself a little assist. And as your hands support you, pull the belly in deeper and then slowly guide yourself down, removing the hands from your body so you don't get hung up. Take the leg, give it a little bounce. If you felt the hamstrings fire up, that's not a bad thing. They were doing precisely what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. All right. Knees towards your chest. Give your little circles. Reverse circle. Ready? Hopefully your strap isn't too far away from you. Get it? Lasso one foot. Take the leg up. And the other leg gets to just rest in the chair. Ah. So just having that leg high, back to stretching that hamstring. And now, can we stretch the adductor? So often when we do this adductor stretch, we have this other leg fully extended, resting on the floor. But now that it's up and on the chair, it kind of frees up our hip line. So what I want you to try to do is make your leg really straight, press from the back of the knee, keep tension on your pulling the foot to you and pushing the knee away, and then open it up without letting the hip on the other side of you roll with that leg, right? So you're going to keep your back flush to the floor, pull your elbow on that arm that's got hold of the strap. Try to get your elbow to touch the floor because that's your guide for allowing that stretching limb to have more stretch. Come up, do it again. Full extension from the knee. Pull the leg so you have tension and then open it up. Elbow touches the floor, squeezing the buns. All right. Take the leg, come across the middle. Ooh, shouldn't have to go far. That shifts it up into the lateral hamstring. Now, if we hold it here for a few seconds, maybe some of the initial like massive stretch will go away. As soon as that stretch kind of feels like it's diminishing a little bit, I want you to take your toes and I want you to rock, point, and flex. Even though the hand has got the strap, right, we can still try to pull the shoulder blades back to the floor. Or maybe you just reposition your arm a little bit, right? So that it's easier. If your elbows are down away from the shoulder line, it's easier to get the shoulders into their set position. And as the leg and the hip, right, start really releasing, you might find that your stretching leg just comes across your body deeper and deeper, but you're just rocking, pointing, and flexing. And now soften the knee, ease it up, switch feet. All right, take a second. When we rock ourselves from side to side, um, often we're just a little bit cockeyed. So when you transition from one leg to the next, you just spend as much time getting yourself what feels like squared. Okay, so here we go. The leg is fully extended, and yet you're pulling on your strap. You should and feel like you're initiating the stretch into the calf with the flexed foot. Open the arm and the leg, let your elbow find the floor, and let the leg take the stretch.
Once you get that leg over there, re-straighten it because probably it bent in transition. And then up it goes. Inhale, open it up, really extend it, flex the foot to you, bring it up, open. We're doing 5. This is number 4. One more. Okay. Phase 2. Switch hand to strap. Draw the leg across the middle until you feel this radiating intensity all the way up into your derriere. And then point and flex. Oh, man. I want to say that's slightly wicked, but yet when you release the toes, it's not bad, right? Pulling the ankle into flexion just makes that stretch radiate deeper and longer. Shoulders are rolled back, no tension in the belly, right? And the great thing is that even if you weren't holding your strap, the fact that your stretching leg can kind of rest along the inside of the other leg, it's like the limbs are supported. And even if you didn't do anything except cross the leg over, you'd be supported and stretching at the same time. It's if you want more, then you can gain more by tugging on the strap and articulating your ankle, right? So often people are really tight through this lateral hamstring up into the rump, that it's painful. This stretch feels so good to me in this modified position, but if you're in pain, then you shouldn't be doing the extra tugging on the strap. And now release, unhook. Can you take and maybe get your body a little bit closer to your chair? If your chair's all crooked from when you were doing your bridges, then just do your best to get your body square. And we're using the chair. So your feet can be as far away from you as you need them to be comfortable, but you're trying to put the bottoms of your feet together. And if that's not any kind of a stretch, then you just keep pulling your feet closer. Now, even though the chair is not against a wall, let's see where we can go with this. If your feet are really close to the edge of your chair, pick your head up, and then I want you to see if you can just slide your feet right onto the edge and get them together. The chair may move a little bit, right? If you're not working with a really firm object, but you're going to have to push it really hard for it to fall over. So if it's not fully connected to the floor, just be mindful of that. Okay. So now, pelvic tilt. As soon as you pelvic tilt, I'm having us do some stretches that we normally have our feet on the floor for, but today having them on the chair is giving our body a whole different sensation for the stretch. So here's where we're going. We're trying to stretch high up into the adductor. So the bottoms of the feet are touching. Pull your belly into your body. Start squeezing your buns with the intention of lifting the hips from the floor. And as soon as you do that, hopefully your knees get further away from one another and the stretch increases. Now, if you can keep your pelvic tilt and a little hand pressure against the insides of the thighs, right? And then draw your lumbar back to the floor. That is massive stretch. Ready? Stop pushing. Relax your body. I want us to do that one more time. I do not have my heels touching. The pads of my feet are touching, but not my heels. So that's not a right or a wrong. If your feet are doing something different, right, that's just where I'm not fighting to try to keep my heels together. So here we go. Navel to spine, start your pelvic tilt, press the feet into the edge of the chair, press the knees open, maybe use the hands gently. The hips are elevated ever so slightly. Keep a little pressure going with your hands and pull your back down to the floor. Now, stop pressing. Oof. Let the legs readjust. Roll yourself off to one side. Gently, slowly up you come. I want us to do our downward dog as we get up. So take your time. I'm going to just be off my mat. Easy does it. Stub the toes, pop up, heels to the floor the best you can get. If you want to go one notch further, put one foot right in the middle, load that leg. And if you're doing that version, complete the position by moving your head through your arms because the heels of your hands are driving the hips back. Switch feet. If you've already worked yourself all the way up, take a couple of deep breaths. We'll be right there. So both feet are down, soften the knees, walk yourself back. Before you ever think about rolling yourself up, you should feel like you're balanced on your feet before you transition to your up phase. Pull up, inhale, nice deep breath. Exhale.